You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and, of course, our friends over at the Glebe Central Pub, your spot in the heart of the Glebe to watch the game and have a great time, whether you're enjoying live music every Saturday night or the Send Shuttle $18 round trip to and from the CTC. More information on their website, glebecentralpub.com. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Levitan Martian after the Ottawa Senators salvaged their homestand, beating the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1. Marshy, I got to be honest with you. I needed to put myself in a 5-minute timeout when the Flyers scored 30 seconds in. I was fuming at that point.
Yeah, 30 seconds in and the first shot of the game. It's a bit of a great shot. Let's be real here. Tyson Forster comes in and rips that shot, but he beats Linus Ullmark so clean on that one.
So clean.
It was one of those moments where you go, oh my God, here we go. This is going to be classic Ottawa Senators of old and of new. The Sens are going to maybe make this one a bit of a debauchery, but from then on out, it was all Sens all the way. I think they played a great game overall in this one, Ross.
That was the first shot of the game for the Flyers, and then Linus Ullmark stopped the next 21 straight to finish this game with just that goal against. And there was a play in the third period, Marshy, where it was a pretty similar opportunity, and he made an unreal glove save that got the crowd fired up.
Yeah, dude, you know I love when he throws that little bit of extra salt and pepper on that puppy. He grabs that thing and he just snatches it up there out of the air like the golden snitch. I feel like this is going to be my first Harry Potter reference here tonight because there's a couple guys out there who are wearing invisibility cloaks for the Sens. But I was happy with the overall game and the way things turned out.
Well, you loved Ullmark flashing the leather so much, you got it printed out and aggrandized. The one against Boston.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love a good goalie moment. I love a big save like that. That photo is absolutely epic. That thing sits down in the man cave down in the basement there right now. I love looking at that thing. And Linus Ullmark, especially when he was wearing the Martian on his helmet. I mean, that thing just sang to me. I had to get that thing framed. So I don't know if there was any good snaps of this game tonight. I'll have to check the Getty images to see if there's something worth framing there from those saves here tonight. But like you said, yeah, Allmark was, doing his thing out there tonight after that first goal. I was a little worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, oh my God, that save percentage is taking an absolute beating in the early games of this season. But he held up hanging in there. And what did he end up with here, Ross? It was a 9.57 save percentage, well above his season average, and also just a great save percentage to have overall anyways.
Big confidence booster game for Linus Ullmark, because the Senators offense, they did enough to win the game, but 2 goals, it's not going to make you a playoff team if you're scoring that every night. So there's still room for improvement, but we did see a lot of things we liked, enough for some really good SensCentral standouts. I thought there were certain players that really elevated their game. A little later on, we'll discuss the lines and how Travis Green may have found something here. And I'm going to extend that all the way to the 4th line, because Lars Eller was making good plays in his one preseason game. Then when he starts the year, his first game, he's got Curtis McDermott, and we just spoke about his skating after that game against Tampa. But now he's got, let's call Olle Lycksell right now a quadruple A player, to use a baseball term, World Series coming up, where in the AHL, he's over a point per game. But in the 2 opportunities he had to play NHL games, the points didn't come with him. But he does have that skill. So when he's paired with someone like Lars Eller, who made the pass of the game, the play of the game for the goal, you're starting to see a bit more depth scoring as a result. And how good does that feel for Lycksell, getting the game winner against the team that drafted him in the 6th round, developed him for multiple years, and then let him go in free agency at the first opportunity?
Yeah, I feel like the shoe's on the other foot with this one, because it always feels like it's the Sens prospects who they let go early, and they end up coming back to Ottawa and scoring the goal on us. But in this case, the liquor, as I call him, comes in here, and he does his job. What a shift, Ross, when he comes around, gets a great shot on net, gets to the net himself, is in the right spot. And yeah, like you said, just an unbelievable pass there by Lars Eller to go between the legs and just feed that over to Lycksell. He knew he was there. We're not sure if Ollie was calling for that thing, but he made a great play there, and he buried that thing. And I liked Lycksell's game. I have liked Lycksell's game. He's kind of one of those guys who you don't always look at and be like, wow, he's like flash and dash, he's doing all these things, but he's always kind of doing the right thing out there, which makes him right now, as of right now, at this point in his career, kind of like a perfect 4th liner, because he's not going to cost you. Like, for instance, if you had a guy like McDermott slothing around out there and directing traffic in his own end, at least Lycksell can skate. He can move the puck, and he's smart enough to not make crucial mistakes, which is really all you can ask from a 4th line. Just shut things down, kill a few minutes, let your big boys get their breath, and then get off the ice.
Lycksell's played in his 49th NHL game tonight, and he gets his 2nd goal. To make it even more special, after the game, he told reporters that he has family over from Sweden right now. So just a week ago, that family, I'm assuming their trip was already planned, and he was in Belleville.
Yeah. No way. That's unreal. Yeah, it's nice to see that. And they must have came all the way over from Oskarshamn, Sweden, which is, he's a native of that area. I've never heard of that place before. But
when you type it in on Google, it brings you to IKEA furniture right off the bat.
Yeah, probably. And
I'm confirmed.
Oh, really? That's where they make it?
Yeah, look, no free ads, but you type in his hometown, copy paste into Google, and we got some living room furniture.
They named a chair after his hometown. That's unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. You're moving up in the world when. In Sweden, that's got to be pretty high praise.
That's top tier stuff right there in Sweden.
Side note, I only really discovered the IKEA restaurant cafe in the last month or so. Oh, delicious. Great prices.
I can't believe you never hit that when you're here in Ottawa.
No, I always drove past, but
those meatballs
I settled in. I was buying a desk. And I went out, got the meatballs, got the fish and chips. Delicious.
Oh, you got the fish and chips? I'd probably opt out of the fish and
stay
chips.
Away. Trust me, Sweden's got lots of water around it.
Dude, those meatballs and that little mashed potato action that they have going on there, they've got that recipe nailed. It almost it reminds me of that like pre-made mashed potato where it's almost like that powdered stuff that you throw in, add water kind of thing. Still tastes amazing, but it's like home cooking, baby. That stuff's good.
And then they're like, hey, sign up. Let us send you a newsletter, and it'll be $1.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, you walk in there, you buy an Oxfam chair, and you get a free meatball, baby.
And that was talking IKEA. Thanks to Olle Lycksell, who gets the game-winning goal. I'm seeing the chat lighting up about the out-of-town scoreboard. If that doesn't show you some passion that you're scoreboard watching in October, I don't know what does. And you're damn right. I celebrated as well when I saw Chicago got the win over Tampa in regulation. But maybe I shouldn't get ahead of myself. Sens are in Chicago next Tuesday, but they've got some big games between then. Washington on Saturday on the road, and then at home against a Boston Bruins team who started hot and has been ice cold since. They lose tonight against a Western Conference opponent, so we'd love to see that as well, with the Anaheim Ducks beating them in a shootout. What was the final score here? 7-5 was the final in that one. We got lots more to get to in this game. And we'll mention, too, we'll preview Saturday's game tomorrow on Locked On Senators, get Pilsy's thoughts on what we saw tonight. But first, you know the postcast is always brought to you by Glebe Central Pub, and so too are the SensCentral Standouts. Stay tuned for that next. More chat. Promise it won't be about IKEA. This is the postcast presented by Locked On Senators, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Head there for a great time and a long time. You can go all day, all night, open till 2 a.m. They'll have the World Series on the television, and they've got something every night of the week. How about live music every Saturday night? No cover, ever. You want to get real vibey at the GCP? Well, the Send Shuttle's the way to do that. Tickets available right now for all October games, and you can pay $18. Leave the pub an hour and a half before the game, and it'll bring you right back afterward. So it's the easiest, one of the quickest ways to get to and from downtown out to the CTC. So go get your tickets at GlebeCentralPub.com. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. We love our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Shout out to FanDuel. Had a great day over there thanks to our Ottawa Senators. Claude Giroux, anytime point. That was easy. And the NHL season's here. Baseball's in the World Series. FanDuel making sure you're ready for it with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, Martian, we're wrapping up. A 2-1 Sens win tonight over the Philadelphia Flyers. And what would you say to fans that might come out and say, hey, 2 points is 2 points? That was pretty low event hockey tonight. They want to see more sparkle and dash to their game.
Yeah, I was honestly quite worried in this one. There was a lot of moments throughout this game where, and maybe just is because the Flyers are not a great team, but there was moments where this one could have easily slipped away. But Linus Ullmark was always there. The thing I would look at and say is I know they don't have Brady Tkachuk and they're missing their leader. It's clear as day. This team is playing without an identity right now. But I would love to see some guys, have a little bit more of a oomph to their game and step up a little bit more. Shane Pinto has been one guy who's been doing it for sure. Dylan Cousins is another guy who I would say has also been doing that. But there's a few other guys on this roster who we just got to expect a lot more from, right? I looked at Tim Stützle, the German. You got to get him rolling here. And I don't know what it is with him, but I remember this kid 5 years ago playing in the World Junior Championships with a team of nobodies and just throwing them all on his back and saying, boys, don't worry. I'm here. I'm the German. I'm going to take care of things here. I'm going to just be an absolute buzzsaw against Team Canada in what ended up being like a 13-2 loss. But Tim Stützle was a problem for Team Canada every time he stepped on the ice. And I would like to see a little bit more of that style of play from him where he says, I really don't give an F here, boys. I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to act like I know I can act and do the thing I know I can do and take initiative in the game. And he hasn't been doing that. He's kind of been a bit of a pouty baby on the bench. He hasn't been getting maybe the looks he's been wanting. I don't know what his problem is right now, but I expect a lot more from a guy like Tim Stützle. And then there's other guys who I think that the rest of the team looks to for, energy and looking to as a veteran of this team. The longest standing Senator on this team, Thomas Chabot, is probably the most pulseless player that you'll find on this team. I do think he had a pretty solid game tonight as far as he goes, but when I look at what this team is trying to find as far as an identity, they all kind of turned into a bunch of Chabots out there and just ended up being pulseless. And that's not what I think they really needed to try to take the bull by the horns, if you will, with this game. I think that they could have done a lot more to really put the boot to this Philadelphia Flyers team, and they didn't do it because they were just kind of all going through the motions. I felt like in this game, there was Drake Batherson is another guy who you got to point out as a guy who you need a lot more from. He's sitting here at this point in the season. I know he missed a little bit of training camp. He missed the first few games. It might take him a little bit to get going, but I need more from him too. He was turning the puck over like you wouldn't believe. It was like running a bakery with all the turnovers he was pulling out here. In the neutral zone especially is where I noticed it. So you need more from Chabot. You need more from Stützle. I want to see Chabot, Stützle, and Batherson. Those are the three guys I look to right now as potential guys who need to be leaders on this team, and they're not really doing it right now. I feel like you look at the bottom six and guys in the middle six, like Michael Amadio, like you can't let these guys be the identity of this team because you're going to have to win a lot of 2-1 games for that to be the case.
Yeah, well, Ottawa getting 2 first goals of the season tonight, both for Amadio and Olle Lycksell. So at least the depth is picking them up right now. Tonight wasn't a great night for the Cousins, Stützle, and Batherson line. They generated 45% of the expected goals when they were out there, and the shots were pretty much 50-50. So you want that line winning their shifts on a consistent basis. But they've also been kind of pulled in the right direction here by a new form line in the GCP line where the vibes are free. It's Nick Cousins having a bit of a revival, as I saw in the chat here. And it's also allowing David Perron to I think, gain a little peskiness. You know, he's not trying to mesh with the skill guys right now. He's seeing Ridly Greig, probably sees a bit of himself in Ridly from when he was growing up through the league. And then Nick Cousins is obviously well documented. I didn't really have a problem with Cousins on his penalty tonight. I felt like Vladar did a good job of selling that. Of course, you don't want to take a penalty that far from your net. It was a bit unnecessary, and Cousins' reputation might have played into getting the call there, but I'm not as upset with him at that as I think I would have been. Well, if they lost or it affected the score, but otherwise in the game. So I really like that line. What's your thoughts? Those are 3 players I know you like the way they play.
I mean, I love that style of play. You know me, like that's my kind of hockey. Like roll in the mud there, boys. Get into those corners, throw a dirty little hit, little stab at the stick, whatever you need to do to kind of get your little edge on the opponent that you need to do. I think I probably reacted to that Nick Cousins play more than I should have, just because he does it every time. Like it's every game he'll take a penalty, and it's always in the offensive end. And some of the time it's at a moment where the team is kind of buzzing, and they should just need him to just play a little hockey versus maybe doing those things that we talked about that are things that we like, but only when they benefit you. And if you're doing it and it's just ending up in a penalty in every case, then it's probably not perfect. Listen, I love Nick Cousins. I think that's the kind of guy that, you know, he can change the tide of a game with one little thing that he does, and he gets under the skin of the opponent. And same with Ridly Greig, but Ridly Greig would be another guy I would say who's done pretty much nothing this season as far as offensive, point totals go. He needs to get going in that regard, I think, too. And that's going to allow you to get a little bit more, chances to be a bit of more of a rat when you're able to also contribute offensively. If you look at a guy like Brad Marchand, who I think would probably be an idol or somebody who, someone like Ridly Greig can look to as like, that's how I want to be and that's how I should play. He's contributing on the score sheet every night too. So you can be your rat, you can do your thing as a rat, and you can take those penalties. But if you're scoring a goal as well, or you're getting an assist or something like that, good screen in front of the net, even, that's going to earn you a lot more goodwill with people like me and even your coaching staff as well. I think that, guys like that, it's good when they get on the score sheet and also can be a pest.
Well, what I do like about Ridley Gregg in his game tonight was drawing that penalty in the third period against Nick Seeler, where it was just a hard-working play and made him take the 2. So more of that would be great. But that line, since being put together, I mean, in terms of the chances and where the puck is on the ice when they're out there, they had 100% expected goals percentage in the first game. They had no shot attempts against. And then tonight, 79% in 9 minutes of action. They played the third most of any line, which would make sense. Obviously, the Pinto and the Cousins-Stützle line were ahead of that there. Still have SensCentral standouts to get to, and I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat, most recently Owen, talking about Fabian Zetterlund, who I'm surprised didn't make your list. I'll ask Martian about that on the other side. You're listening to the postcast presented by Locked On Senators. Today's episode is brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. And it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making new moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, which means no awkward waiting rooms and no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. So visit Rougiette.com/LockedOnNHL and you get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL. And don't forget to use our promo code LockedOnNHL so they know that we sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves. Today's postcast is also brought to you by Game Time. Need last-minute tickets? Of course, you want them at the lowest prices, so check out Game Time because hockey season is finally here, and nothing beats being back in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets that can be a total headache between surprise fees, prices that jump before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated. That's not what hockey's about. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Welcome back to the postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Lalim's Martian. You can follow the Martian and I on social media. The links are in the description below. It was a 2-1 win tonight for the Senators over the Philadelphia Flyers. Senators outshoot the Flyers 33-22 in this game. The power play, though, 0 for 5. But would you trade it for a perfect penalty kill? That's what it was tonight. Senators go 3 for 3 on the PK. Flyers snap back 56% of the faceoff. Blocks are 16-15 for Philly. And the Flyers out-hit Ottawa 21-17. Expected goals percentage at 5-on-5, 61% in the favor of the Flyers. Martian, looking back at that game, wasn't so bad. I almost forgot the power play went 0 for 5. Almost,
yeah. I mean, special teams wise, we all been pointing to that penalty kill and I mean, going 3 for 3, and I thought it looked a lot better. I honestly did. I think there was a little bit of something to it. It was they weren't letting Philly get really anything going on the power play. I didn't feel like there was maybe one or two, like it was like a minute or so where they looked like they were able to have their way a little bit with Ottawa, but for the most part, they did a really good job killing the penalties. So I can't complain about the penalty kill tonight. The power play going 0 for 5 is a little bit of a nightmare. I mean, that's not ideal. You want to score on the power play. So when they get both units clicking in the right way, then I mean we're looking at a really good game, I think, for the most part in a lot of regards, right, Ross?
Yeah, right. But tonight I was very much noticing the second unit more than the first.
Yeah,
with Chabot
sure.
and Perron and Pinto had a couple of good looks there on the power play, and Giroux. So I'd like to see the top unit be what's catching my eye when the Senators take on the Capitals, who we don't need to remind you are always dangerous on the power play, with number 8 standing in the one-timer spot. Claude Giroux had a great assist tonight to Michael Amadio, and he will be my first SensCentral standout. We willed it to happening. We willed it to happening this morning on Locked On Senators. We brought up all the great stats that Giroux had against his former team. That was a great play early in the hockey game that I felt obviously Ottawa needed that goal after surrendering the first one, and I like the way that Giroux played tonight. So maybe it's to rub a little salt in Flyers fans' cuts after this game, just reminding them Claude Giroux is and was always born to be an Ottawa Senator. Just 1,000 games aside, he's been a Senator for life. So I want to give a little love to Claude Giroux tonight. The numbers elsewhere don't necessarily jump out, just +1, 4 shots on goal, took 9 faceoffs, won 5 of them. So nice, tidy night at the office for Claude Giroux.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was, when I was talking earlier about somebody who needs to show a little bit of leadership on the ice and be that guy who everybody can look to and lead by example. He's the perfect kind of guy for that. And against his former team, and, it's always nice for him, I think, to stick it to Philly a little bit. Not that they really gave up on him by any means, but it was a rebuild and they had to get rid of him. We know about that more than probably most fan bases do. Letting guys go that you really love. And I like the fact that Claude Giroux is able to step up against his former team like that.
Yeah, very nice, but not the story, because Olle Lycksell did him better, scoring the game-winning goal. Tonight, Marshy, who do you have for a standout in tonight's game?
Yeah, I think we can all agree that honorable mention would be Olle Lycksell in this one, the Licker. He was unbelievable in his 7:37 on ice, but he's not going to be my standout in this one. I have to go with Michael Amadio. This is not a guy I'm going to get a chance to give the standout nod to very often, I don't think. So I'm gonna go with him. He's the first star of the night tonight, boys. Like he was really good. So he ended up getting that goal. Really good patience, I think, on that shot. He kind of just grabbed that puck. It was a great feed over, I believe, from Pinto, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was Drew. That was Drew. Yeah, you just said that. So thanks.
Yeah.
Good thing I was listening. But yeah, great pass over from Drew there. And he didn't just shoot that thing right away or try to do too much with it. He just kind of held on to it for a minute or a couple seconds and then and ripped that thing short side, open area of the net. Great shot from Michael Amadio. And he's always going to be that guy that is, I call him a coach's darling kind of guy, right? Where he is always good defensively and he's always in the right position and he's never going to really cost your team anything, but a lot of the times he doesn't really do too much offensively. So this is going to be something that I hope that can build a little bit of confidence for Michael Amadio in this case. So let's give him the nod here. 3 shots on goal, 2 blocks, and a couple hits as well for Michael Amadio. So
yeah, well, I guess we're snapping around twice then, because we said Lycksell had to be one, and Linus Ullmark has to be one tonight. He's got to be a SensCentral standout. So we'll give Linus Ullmark his Pilsy standout. He's here in spirit, and he'll break down the game more on tomorrow's Locked On Senators. Any other things you noticed during the game that you wanted to mention? I thought from the Flyers' perspective, probably not the best game for them if I'm looking in the mirror. 2 offensive zone penalties in the first period. They don't get a whole lot. They're the least amount of shots on goal per game in the National Hockey League. They finish a shot above their average tonight. This was a game Ottawa had to win and had to win in regulation, and they did. So as I said on SensCentral, exhale after that one.
Yeah, they don't ask how, they just ask how many, Ross. I think the only other kind of note that I had in my head for this game was Matvei Michkov coming out of the box. I saw the quote earlier from who's their coach, Tocchet, saying, this guy wants to be the guy who serves penalties for bench minors or whatever it may be, so that he can come out of the box and get these breakaways out of the box. Sure enough, this happens, and he gets the cleanest breakaway you could ever have. The closest guy to him was 20 feet away, and he comes out of the box and he grabs that thing. And that quote ran through my head as soon as he got that puck. I go, oh my God, here we go. This guy just loves this moment. This is what he wants. But Linus Ullmark, like you said, Pilsy's standout here tonight, even though Pilsy's not here. Great save on that one with the pad. And I love all the banter. Like you're hearing a lot of just like talk about this Michkov guy being out of shape. He looks fat. Like he looks like a little bit of a fatty out there. Like
he wasn't moving too fast. He had the McDermott stride a little bit there.
He got that breakaway. It took everything in my mind to not like just make fun of him, but because I thought he'd maybe come
credit
back.
to you.
Yeah. Good. Hey, good for me to have a filter for once. But
credit to you.
Michkov, I think that's pretty funny that he ended up missing that breakaway. Maybe we'll think about putting somebody else in that situation next time because the kid couldn't get the job done.
No, he could not. And the Senators do because their kid, Olle Lycksell, drafted by the Flyers, beats them tonight. Senators win 2-1. The event summary from tonight's game, we'll say it's brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. It was the opening goal was Michael Amadio with the assist going to Claude Giroux and Artem Zub. And then in the second period, 3 minutes in, Lycksell from Lars Eller, the play of the game. Beautiful. If you haven't seen it, rewind that one or just turn on the plays of the week. It'll be there. Nick Jensen gets the other assist in that one. A little note from Pillsy. Sens only win when I'm not there. Sad face. 8-1 beer league loss tonight. So,
ouch, Pillsy. Oh,
Pillsy's licking his wounds.
I would love to do a postcast on one of Pillsy's beer league games, and I could just like remember sometimes when we do just like stand downs.
Yeah, I think we need to. I think we need to live stream the live barn feed.
Well, they have that. Like I know my beer league games have that. Yeah. I've never, obviously, I would never.
We need to scout Pillsy between the pipes.
Yeah, was he playing goalie? I thought he's playing out now.
I don't think he's playing goalie. No, oh no, he's playing out. You're right. But
yeah,
hey, after 8, they might be knocking on his door to put the pads back on.
No kidding. 8 bomb. That's never good.
I'll leave you with a stat tonight. I saw from a great account on Twitter, Kaz. Go Sens go. Last year, the Sens were the 12th fastest team in max speed. This year, they're 26th in the league. So playing with some speed, I think, would help out going forward.
Well, I mean, they got 3 guys on their team who are over 35 years old. That's never going to help you in the speed department in today's NHL. It's a young man's game out there. We know that. So as long as they can be a possession team, which is I think what they're trying to do. They're trying to be a possession team. I don't remember the last time I saw the Sens try dumping and chasing. It's been a few years, definitely pre DJ Smith firing, that they've been a dump and chase team. They haven't done that in a long time. They try to play a possession game, which means you're going to be a little bit on the slower side a lot of the time, just kind of maintaining the puck and trying to make a play versus trying to, beat guys off the rush or fire the puck in and go chase it down. So I think that's probably what you can attribute that speed thing to.
It's not just the 4 minutes that McDermott played.
Actually, that might have been it.
Lowered the average all the way down.
His 4 minutes he was out there, he moved 1 kilometer per hour.
His arms moved more than his feet.
Yeah,
exactly. Patrolling. You over there.
No, trust me. Yeah.
Dude, I'm ready. I'm gonna go out and say I'm ready.
Did Philly not play Delorier tonight?
No, they didn't. I don't know if he's hurt.
So if Delorier was in, I would have imagined that McDermott probably would have got dressed.
Well, McDermott, I'm handing him a calendar. I'm gonna circle it twice so he really sees it. November 2nd against Montreal. That you can play that game.
Yeah. It was fight night tonight too in the NHL across the board. See a few of those scraps in the Rempe Reeves, and then Janot went with someone else and got a few good shots in on that guy.
He's a monster.
Yeah, so good fighting night in the NHL. It's good to see that that's kind of like, at least getting a lot of attention, and it's kind of coming back a little bit. And have a guy like McDermott for that.
Hey, and as Matthew says, rightfully in the chat, the Senators are now tied with the Toronto Maple Leafs in points on the young season. They played 1 extra game, but hey, points are what they are. I like what Chris writes in. The worst defense in the league, yet the Sens are 3-4-1. Not too shabby. There's room to build off. Like, the season's not off the rails.
Yeah, there's a few things with this team that are completely unsustainable. I mean, the 5 goals against per game obviously is going to come down after tonight with just the 1 goal against. That's a really good sign. And then the save percentage as well. The team save percentage and the opposing shooting percentage. Ross, did you see that graphic? Yeah. I'm not sure if you were able to pull that up as quickly.
No, I can't.
You probably can't. But the Ottawa Senators are giving up before tonight. It was something insane, like 18% shooting percentage against. So those are just things that are going to end up coming back down to the mean eventually here. And it's only going to mean good things for the Sens, considering where those numbers are at right now and how this early season has gone to be where they are with this record they have, this 3-4-1 record. It could be worse. And those are only going to improve for us. So,
and it's like the Buffalo loss at that point. If you come back home on this 4-game homestand and you lose more than you win, all of a sudden you're like, oh no. But the Sens got 5 out of a possible 8 points. It's not great. It's not perfect, but there is something to build towards here as they go into a tough matchup this weekend against the Washington Capitals. Again, 2-1. The Sens win. Olle Lycksell with the game-winning goal. Linus Ullmark making 22 saves and 22 in a row after allowing a goal on the first shot. For more from us, you can go see Martian Stocks, the ups, the downs from tonight's game over on Twitter. You can find us at SensCentral, and you can find Pilsy's thoughts tomorrow on the show. We'll also preview the weekend matchup, and the Belleville Senators are back in action for 2 against the Marlies. Let's get some Go Sens Go in the chat. For the Martian, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been a Sens win, covered by the Postcast, part of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.